Thanks, Clive. Good evening and welcome to the Late Look North. Good evening, thanks for joining us. Some breaking news: Yorkshire County Cricket Club has agreed to recommend a proposal for a loan agreement from former chairman Colin Graves. He had been heading up a consortium to try and take over the cash-strapped club. Ollie Constable joins me now. Ollie, what have the club said this evening?
Well, Hannah, this is news that's broken in the last half an hour or so. It's Yorkshire County Cricket Club's board has agreed to recommend a proposal from a consortium led by Colin Graves. This has just been confirmed by the club. Graves had been in charge of the club for some of the time when the racism scandal engulfed Yorkshire in recent years, so his return is seen by some as controversial. Well, former Yorkshire spinner Azeem Rafiq, who we've spoken to on Look North this week, had said that Graves' return had been inevitable and that it would be a sad day for all those who have suffered racism. Well, he's just posted on social media, "No longer my club." Well, Rafiq, of course, blew the whistle on racism at the club in 2020, leading to investigations by Yorkshire and the ECB.
Ollie, why has this proposal come about?
Well, Yorkshire is in desperate need of cash as they try to ward off the threat of administration. Other options included a mooted deal with former Newcastle United owner Mike Ashley, but that hasn't materialised. Now, this offer still needs to be given the green light from club members at a future meeting, but it's thought to be a £1 million loan, followed by new investment worth £4 million. Graves had previously stumped up money to save the county before in 2002, leading to debt totalling almost £15 million owed to Mr Graves. He served as chair between 2012 and 2015. Representatives of the Graves Consortium have been approached for comment by the PA News Agency.
Ollie, thank you. Well, we will be keeping across all the details and we'll have more for you on this tomorrow. Next this evening, the Post Office Minister has issued a plea to former postmasters across our region. He's asking all those who've been wrongly convicted to please come forward after having their lives ruined by a computer system which made them look like thieves. Heidi Tomlinson has been speaking to one of those whose life was turned upside down by the scandal.
Mr. Speaker, this is one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in our nation's history.
Glued to the Prime Minister's announcement, former postmistress Maria Lockwood from Huddersfield, who paid £30,000 to the Post Office unnecessarily when she was wrongly accused of fraud due to faulty software. Maria was never convicted, but she lost her livelihood and has endured 20 years of trauma as a result.
But today I can announce that we will introduce new primary legislation to make sure that those convicted as a result of the Horizon scandal are swiftly exonerated and compensated. Yeah! We will also introduce a new upfront payment of £75,000 for the vital GLO group of postmasters.
I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough for anybody. A £75,000 wouldn't even cover 3 years' salary. You know, from 2010, 14 years have now passed that I could have potentially been earning that kind of money, which, that were taken away from us.
We intend to bring forward legislation as soon as we can to overturn the convictions of all those convicted in England or Wales.
It's devastated us. It's really, really been hard.
At this stage, all victims want is to think about something else.
One of my youngest sons, he's 17, and he said, "This is all you ever speak about."
Maria will continue pushing for accountability, compensation and ultimately closure. Heidi Tomlinson, BBC Look North.
In other news, the death of an asylum seeker at a hotel in Wakefield has been referred to a national safeguarding body. Father of two, Irakli Kapanadze from Georgia, died in September last year. He's been housed at the Cedar Court Hotel for almost a year. The death was recorded as suicide at an inquest last month, but now a review is to be carried out into whether mental health intervention and care was provided in an appropriate and timely manner. An off-duty midwife who was seriously injured in a crash in Sheffield, where a Good Samaritan died, has said she is now recovering at home. Chris Marriott, who had 2 children, died when he was hit by a car as he was helping an injured woman in Pittsmore on the 27th of December. Alison Norris said she needed an operation on her knee and leg after she was injured in the same collision. A man's been charged with the incident. And more than 1,000 people are to receive suicide prevention training as part of a strategy to reduce the number of people who take their own lives in Barnsley. The charity Papyrus says suicide is the biggest killer of people under the age of 35, and they believe many of those deaths could be prevented. Barnsley Council is to deliver the training to staff and residents to help people gain the knowledge and skills to try and reduce the number of suicides there. Let's get the weather now. Here's Paul.
Hello again, good evening. Well, it's more of the same tomorrow with a lot of clouds streaming in from the North Sea. But apart from the odd shower, it should be generally dry. But later in the weekend, we see a return to much colder weather just in time for next week. But certainly it's not that cold out there at the moment. We're looking at perhaps a touch of ground frost, but most of us should be frost-free with extensive cloud cover. Again, a risk of 1 or 2 light showers and temperatures 3 or 4 degrees. So another nondescript day tomorrow, mostly dry apart from the odd shower, rather cloudy with some bright or sunny intervals, but I think you can consider yourselves lucky if you catch any of those. We'll see top temperatures coming in at around 7 or 8 degrees Celsius in a moderate northeast wind. A similar forecast on Friday, mostly dry, rather cloudy. Generally brighter over the weekend, some sunny spells. And then next week it looks a lot colder, mainly sunny at first, but the risk of some wintry precipitation by the middle of the week. That's the forecast.
Thanks, Paul. From the Late Team, good night.